All right, what's up, everybody? We are back doing some new stuff. Again, mixing everything up. We don't know. We haven't really landed on where or how our design is going to be, but we think this may be a winner. We also just surrendered a whole room in Mike's house to this, so
Gave it up.
Yeah, we'll figure out how that goes. But we do want to try just some new stuff, some new camera angles. So you're kind of seeing some of that here today. So yeah, anyways, we'll see how it goes. And I'm still trying to determine, like, am I looking at the camera, looking at you, like it's going to be back and forth?
That's fine.
Which it was a lot on the last episode too. That was a lot of back and forth. I heard a lot of people being like, are you looking to the side? Because I had to flip one of the screens.
Trying to figure out where we were.
Yeah, like, because on one of them it was you were talking and then you would look this way, but I would be over here, and so it was kind of wacky.
Do you ever, when you're watching a video podcast that has like these different camera angles, do you try to figure out the layout of the room?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, that's my thing too. Yeah.
I'm trying to be like, how are they doing that? And then I think they probably put a lot more money into that than we have.
That's right.
Because we are bare bones in it here.
That's right. And with that said, glad to be back.
Yes, absolutely. And we got some interesting topics today. Who knows where it's going to go, but we're going to get into it. Okay, so you just went off. I've been waiting to talk about this. You just got back from Nashville. I guess tell us about that. There's one part that I do want to hit.
And we'll save maybe the best for last.
Yeah.
So
Nashville's super cool city.
Yeah, and it was a work trip. And I've been through there and really just through. We went one time, got some breakfast, took some photos in front of some popular murals. I think the Angel Wings is a popular one. And then another time we landed in the Nashville airport just to quickly leave and head out to like Gatlinburg. So this is the first time I've spent some time there.
Okay.
The company was footing the bill. We stayed in Omni downtown.
Love it.
Like 2 blocks, I think, from the Omni's connected to the Country Music Hall of Fame.
Okay.
And then it's 2 blocks from Broadway, which is like their main
drag.
Honky tonk drag.
Yeah.
Bridgestone Arena's right there, the Ryman, like everything. Yeah. They're like probably a few blocks from the river.
Yeah.
On the other side is the Titans Stadium.
We always stayed at the Gaylord up there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very similar to the one here in Texas.
Yeah. And I want to say that's like a famous one. The bigger, so big atrium and all that. Mm-hmm. Is the Opryland? I didn't go there. Is that venue close to the Gaylord that you know of? Because I don't remember seeing that downtown.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Or the Grand Ole Opry.
The Grand Ole Opry. I know what you meant.
Okay.
I don't really know how close it is. Yeah.
So that wasn't a part of it, but with the company footing the bill, we got to do some really cool things. We when we first got in, there was like kind of just a explore the town free time.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of neat. I mean, it's at 11 a.m. on a Wednesday. It's like music coming out of every honky tonk down that Broadway. Like there's rock, there's country, there's old country. I mean, everything is just, it's going.
Crazy. People just trying to make it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just trying to get out there and make it.
And I would think like, it's just being at one of those spots on Broadway, regardless of the time slot. Now I'm sure the time slot you want has to be like just before and just after like 10 o'clock.
I was going to say later than 9 o'clock for sure.
Yeah. So this was, different, but still really fun, really cool. So that was a good time. A lot. Yeah. I went to, this is the Hattie B's.
Hattie B's.
Hot chicken.
Yeah, it's famous.
I got the hot chicken. It was perfect.
Yeah.
Cool. A buddy of mine said it was too hot. So I don't know. It's in between hot and perfect.
But you went to Raising Cane's and got hot chicken too.
Yeah. Well, okay. So that was just a photo. I didn't go to Raising Cane's.
Oh, okay.
I had to take a photo and make sure my son saw it because he's a huge Raising Cane's.
But did they have hot chicken at Raising?
They had to. I didn't get that. When I saw Hattie B's, I was like, I can't be going to Raising Cane's.
Well, okay. So you must have put 2 in your story. Okay. That's why I thought I saw Raising Cane's. I was like, holy. They got hot chicken. I would have at least got 1 chicken tender. Like,
now that you mention it, I feel like I need to go back and see what they got. If it's just the same menu here, or if they got some.
They would have to do something. Yeah. Nashville. Anyway, sorry.
So okay, but and by the way, Hattie B's, they got like tenders and on the bone. They got wings. They got all kinds.
I have eaten there. It's very good. Yeah,
I'm a fan. All right, so one of the nights, like a feature that the company brought in was that there's this place called the Bluebird Cafe.
Okay.
And it's songwriters, 2 or 3 songwriters will kind of host a night.
Okay.
And these songwriters are like known for #1, Billboard Top 100 hits, and so they'll come in and perform some of these songs that them because of some famous, star made it or had it as a hit on one of their albums.
Yeah.
You don't know the songwriter maybe. And yet they're like, oh no, not only am I going to play the song that I wrote, but let me tell you how, how I came up with this, or where I was when I was inspired to write this, or what buddy I was talking to.
That makes the song so much better.
So, and I'm a lyricist. I like lyrics. So for me, it was golden. Now, granted, when they played, it's like, these are talented individuals. They can play, they can sing.
Sure. But
I'm used to hearing the song sung by, Tim McGraw.
Yeah.
So when the guy's doing... not Tim McGraw. I'm like, well...
the fact that you didn't name a Tim McGraw song. We don't know Tim McGraw songs.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, Live Like You're Dying, or what is that?
Yeah. A bull named Fu Manchu.
Yeah. So, and by the way, that's one of the songs that this songwriter played, and he told the story about it, and it was pretty touching. And there was a lot of that kind of stuff.
Did he talk about, though, like, how he felt about somebody else getting famous off of his song?
He loves it.
Really?
He's making good money.
Is it? Okay.
And not on tour.
Okay. Well, I guess that's true.
Well, and the thing is they talk about they joke about it overall, and maybe this is a part of the act, but they're talking about, our goal is, we write a song, and I want somebody famous already actually to pick that up, because I'm about to get royalties forever.
That's true.
He said, so that's a pretty cool thing. And then if it doesn't get picked up by somebody famous and somebody else wants it, you're kind of like, well, I don't want it to go off and die like a kid. So
you're like, Morgan Wallen picks it up. All right.
Yes, I'm gonna make it right, even if it's not the starred song off of the album. Yeah. He's saying another one that's really cool is the same Tim. I can't think of his last name. The same person who wrote "Live Like You're Dying." He also wrote. Heads Carolina, Tails California. Heads Carolina, Tails California. Yeah. Okay,
that's all I know.
We'll stop there. But like he wrote Joe DiMessina sang that first.
Okay,
and then someone else came along and they had the song is She Had Me at Heads Carolina.
Okay,
and so that song's pretty cool because it's an interpolation. Somebody picked up and like basically wrote a whole nother song. But credits, like in the song, it's talking about somebody singing it. And so he gets like 50% royalties off of that song.
Okay.
So there's no jealousy here. They're just fired up that they're songwriters and they know it.
I'm looking up how songwriters get paid. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So anyway, so they love that. There was another lady there that she sang Strawberry Wine.
Yeah.
I think was kind of famous. And then there was another guy there who that Brooks and Dunn song, There Ain't Nothing About You That Don't Do Something For Me.
Never heard
There ain't nothing about you.
What's that Brooks and Dunn song that I have heard?
I don't know.
Down to Johnson's Bend.
There's so many.
Yeah.
Brooks and Dunn's fantastic. So coming out of this, there's a lot of country music that... So first off, I grew up listening to 90s country because that's what my parents were listening to.
Yeah.
So when I say I was listening to it, it's because I was in the backseat of a car where I did not control the radio. And, I kind of wasn't into it really that much. But there was a few songs I liked. Well, now I feel like I've kind of done the 180.
Yeah.
And there's always been some songs that I've loved, and it's been mostly 90s, early 2000s country. Yeah. But after doing this and hearing some of the stories behind the songs, I tried to go to some country music playlists, and there's invariably some song that comes on. And I'm like, oh man, like somebody's cheating on somebody, and there's too much of whatever. So I made my first country music playlist.
Let's go.
Yeah, it's fire. I love it because there's not anything. Look at it. It was
there's
awesome. no nonsense in this.
Yeah, it was. Okay, so they have a couple different types here. So they have a mechanical royalty, because all of you people out there super care about this.
I do.
A songwriter receives a mechanical royalty from the sale of a song on an album, a legal digital download of any physical product. Mm-hmm. The rate is set by a copyright royalty board made up of 3 judges who meet every 5 years to set rates. Interesting. Okay. The original mechanical royalty was established in 1909 at 2 cents. Today, the current rate is 12.4 cents. Why 0.4? Typically split with
They probably had to fight
co-writers.
over that point, whatever.
Yeah. Typically split with co-writers and publishers for songs under 5 minutes long, which is most.
Yeah.
Songs longer than 5 minutes receive a royalty of 2.39 cents.
On Freebird, they're like, keep playing that solo, baby.
Yeah, that was a money grab. That was a cash grab. A cost of living increase happened periodically in the U.S. Songwriters, blah, 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 whatever. It's boring from there. Okay, performance royalty, which I think is probably where they probably see maybe the most, I think. A songwriter receives a performance royalty when their song is performed on terrestrial, not extraterrestrial, so
Earth?
not in space, on terrestrial broadcast radio, television, in a live performance venue or business, or via online streaming services in the U.S. Okay, that's cool.
Like concert, cover band type.
Yeah. Or
just
via online streaming service. So I wonder if that's even in like a movie. Actually, no, that's the next one. Okay. All right. So yeah, and then they have synchronization fee. A songwriter receives a sync fee when her song is licensed for use to synchronize with video, i.e. television, movie, or YouTube. Okay. And that's usually split 50% to the writer and to the artist and the record label.
So really, it feels like songwriters are making bank in their own right.
Yeah.
If the song's a hit. That's why it's so important that their song does get popular,
Yeah.
Okay, so the guy who tells the story about the "There Ain't Nothing About You That Don't Do Something for Me" song, he says he wrote it, and by the time that he kind of finished it and it gets picked up, he's been married for a few years, and whatever. At one point, he's getting up early and he's always checking, like, is the song at number 1 again? Week number 2, is it at number 1? Week number 3, and so he says he gets to like week number 4, and his wife kind of rolls over and asks him, "Honey, I just got to ask you, did you write that song about me? It's this like love song. There ain't nothing about you that don't do something for me. The way you move, the way you." Okay, so he says, we're us men. We know how to answer certain questions. Like, honey, how does my butt look in these pants or whatever, right? Like, honey, whatever. He's like, I know how to answer questions like that. I'm ready for them. He goes, but for whatever reason that day, I was not ready for that question. And all I could think about was I started writing that song before we were together.
Oh, no.
So I was like, he kind of hesitated. And he goes, I tell you what, that song hit number 1 for the next 3 weeks in a row. It total of 6 weeks at the top 100. But those next 3 weeks were the longest 3 weeks of my life.
Yeah, man, come on, where do you mess up on that, dude?
Yeah,
you like, you gotta know better, man.
Baby, and then just say the song lyrics to her. Like,
absolutely.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing about you.
Yeah. He just starts quoting
singing it to her.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Okay, so what else?
Okay, so anyway, so yeah, I mean, it's a good. I understand the place gets crazy at night, so I don't like recommend. I think it's like a Vegas type, wild party honky tonk atmosphere, but really cool spot. Okay. So I got to get back to Texas. My brother got married at Texas Renaissance Festival on Saturday. So shout out to Chris and Kayla.
Yeah, congratulations, guys. I know you're super listening to this on your honeymoon in Rome.
We'll find out. Yeah, that's right. I hope not. Yeah. Turn it off. Focus on what you're doing. But this was cool. In the airport on the way back, it was an early flight. I walk up to the gate, and it's like 1 or 2 minutes until the gate opens. So I'm just kind of like an early group. I can't hide money. Yeah. And shout out to John Chris. Yeah. And so I'm kind of waiting there close to the front, waiting for the groups to start to get called. And somebody steps up right beside me, and out of the corner of my eye, I look over.
Bro, no way. Bro.
I look over, and I'm like, Dusty?
No.
Did you
say that like this?
I did. It's just exactly how it went down.
Okay, so if you don't know who Dusty Slay is, he's one of our favorite comedians. He's on a very popular podcast called Nateland, who is headed up by Nate Bargatze. He's one of our favorite comedians. We listen to this every week, and Dusty is on that. We went and seen him at Texas Theater a few months ago. It was a great show. So very funny guy. He is like long hair. He wears a trucker hat,
which is why it wasn't hard for me to pick him out in my peripheral vision.
Okay, all right. So this is the first time he sent me a picture. Mike sent me a picture of this, and I don't know if you guys can see it on here, but he sent me a picture of this, and I hold on, let me see if I can pull it up.
Oh, you're good.
And so like I was freaking out.
It was great. And the whole thing too was I wasn't thinking about this at all, right? Like it's early in the morning.
I don't know if you can see that or not, but anyways.
It was early I'll describe it a little bit too because that's part of it. So it was early in the morning and I'm not looking for anything like that, but they're based at just nearby Nashville. That's where they at least record the Nate
So
Land
he
podcast.
must have been flying out.
He was flying out. Okay. That's part of it. So so this is the long story short though.
No. I want the long story.
You want the long story?
I want the long story.
Okay.
Who cares about the listeners?
Glad you said
I'm into it, bro. I'm into it. This is
you guys
awesome.
can fast forward. No, we'll be doing this for a minute.
Yeah.
Okay. So I look over and I see him out of the corner of my eye and I'm like, Dusty. And he kind of turns.
He goes, all right.
He just kind of turns and looks over and he goes, hey.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh man, I gotta be cool.
Don't forget.
I gotta be cool. Don't be a loser in this moment.
Did you know? Oh, bro. Okay.
And so like, but here's the other thing too. Before that, I was pretty tired.
Yeah.
Immediately,
right?
I was ready to go. Man, I
bro.
could have ran through walls. So I was like, hey. I was like, man, yeah. there might have been some voice cracks. Sorry, Shaggy.
Sorry, I'm gonna stop talking.
So I'm like, oh man, I kind of like stutter a little bit. Man, it's good to meet you. I was like, well, man, I don't need to make this weird. So I started apologizing. I don't mean to make this weird or anything, but like, dude, I'm a huge fan. And I said, we saw you at Texas Theater not that long ago and listened to the podcast like every week. And then I was,
did you say Nate Land?
I didn't though. And then I thought, I wonder if he's like, I should have, bro, I was so nervous. I couldn't figure all that stuff out in that moment. I wasn't ready. I was already I didn't have to approach him.
Yeah,
he was there.
He was there.
Yeah. And so, anyways, he's like, all right. He kind of gives me one of those. And that gets me even more giddy because I'm like, he's a regular, real dude all the time.
And short, bro. He's like kind of short.
Yeah. Made me feel normal. Maybe even a little tall. But yeah, so dude, we chopped it up. We were talking like, what you doing next? He's like, oh man, we talked about the Texas Theater thing. He's like, that was a really cool venue. I was like, yeah, didn't you get some Tex-Mex right from around the corner?
Yeah.
He goes, yeah, not the best idea right before a show. Like we were just talking like normal people, which was super cool.
That is cool.
And then I said, oh, okay. I was like, so what's got you going into DFW? He said, well, I'm headed up to Fayetteville, Arkansas. I was like, oh man, my wife spent some years in Arkansas. She lived in Arkansas for a little bit. He's like, oh, okay. I said kind of near there. He's like, oh, okay. He's like, yeah. He's like, man, I love getting around, traveling, that kind of thing. And I said, yeah. I said, and I don't know why I felt to bring this up. I don't know if there's like a part of me that felt like I have to make a joke to this comedian to like try to like, whatever. But I said, my wife, she did live in Arkansas for a little bit. And even though it was under like kind of tragic circumstances, she was adopted by her uncle. And so we always joke about how like there's a lot to overcome. Your uncle being your dad and you're from Arkansas. Like that's a lot. Bro, it was not that funny. Yeah. He was cracking up and I was like,
bro, you're like, excuse me, everyone. Yeah, hold on. I just made this comedian laugh.
Are you looking for a new opener? I'll start working on my. But I did, man. Dude. I was just like, oh,
bro, that's such a dopamine hit. Too.
Yes, and like I could feel myself being like both things at the same time. Like this is awesome and chill out, bro.
Yeah, like be cool.
Yeah, be cool. And so I was like, man, this is great. I was like, I think I went like total fanboy. I was like, man, I got some friends that are just going to love this. They're going to eat this up.
Yeah.
I was like, can I get like a photo or something? He's like, let's do a selfie or whatever. Yeah. And I was like, all right. So I get the phone out and everything. Man, he throws that hand up. He's like, all right.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, we're having a good time.
Yeah. Did you say that?
Yeah, I sure did. I sure did. Cool. And then at that point I felt like, all right, I need to wrap. And well, at this point I'm thinking, I think they called the boarding and stuff. Yeah. So I was like, I got to shut this down.
Nice.
So it was like, all right, man, Dusty, really cool to meet you. Have a great flight. Hope to see you again.
Yeah.
He's like, all right.
Cool, dude.
Yeah.
Bro, how awesome is that?
Super. Though? It was fun. It was really cool.
That is crazy.
Because for the most part, I don't get fired up about like seeing or meeting a celebrity, but there's a few people that like I really enjoy kind of what the content they're creating. Yeah. And I feel like they're approachable. Yeah. And he's a great dude.
Yeah, like I I mean, obviously, like if LeBron James or somebody like
sure.
that, I think that would be cool.
Shake their hand, whatever. Yeah.
But to be honest with
but
you,
you're not trying to sit down and have a conversation and all that.
No, not at all. Like I would have nothing to talk about with LeBron James.
Sure.
Not one thing.
Sure.
But like Dusty, Nate, Brian, Aaron,
yes.
like these are guys all from the podcast.
Every single one of them.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, I could sit down and have dinner with you, no problem.
Yeah.
You know. And again, I think all of these celebrities are probably cool people, whatever. But and it's funny, it's because like those guys aren't on the level of fame as LeBron James
sure.
or, you know, insert.
But I'd much rather meet and spend time with
Correct. Him. Yeah. Yeah. Dude, that's really cool. And for him to just pop up out of nowhere, like he was teleported there.
Yeah.
Like, how wild is
There's
that?
even the little part in my brain. So he gets on before me, sitting first class, which was, you know, not some big crazy flight or anything. Right. With the amount that he flies, I'm sure, like his status. Probably, he's all over the country. So, yeah, shout out to Dusty Slay, man. What a wonderful, great dude. I'm walking by him, though, when I'm getting on after him, like the next group. Yeah. And I'm just like, I already talked to him.
Don't be weird. Don't
hey,
be weird.
Dusty, good to see you again.
Good to see you again, Mr. Slay.
Shut up. Be cool.
Bro,
I dumb stuff was going through my head, like, do all you other guys in first class know who's among you?
Yeah. You don't even know.
You're taking it for granted, man.
Yeah, you don't even deserve that seat, Linda.
Get out. Yeah, exactly. That's right.
The first question I asked Mike was, did you plug our podcast? Did you do any kind of marketing, or did you just word vomit on yourself?
Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, not a bit.
Dude, that is such a cool story, bro. Seriously, that is like the coolest.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was
and
fun.
I think Brian Bates would have talked to you.
Yeah.
But I think Dusty would have been the one that would have been out of the most of them that would have had the conversation like that.
Yeah.
And I'm not throwing off on the rest of those guys.
Not at all.
He just seems the most, at least our normal. Brian's our normal.
I feel like I could, like, all of them would be great to talk to and maybe spend some time with, but I feel like I could, like, I'm like, man, I could spend a weekend hang out. You know
Dude,
what I mean?
yeah. You know what we should do?
What's that?
Is when we put this up, let's tag Dusty.
Yeah, see if we can get some interaction.
Yeah, and we'll see if we can clip your story of that.
Yeah.
And then we'll put it up there.
I don't know. I got all giddy just talking about it.
Yeah. Dude, I'm fired up. Like he's like sitting right here. That's weird. We're grown men, dude.
I sent it to you and Pastor, and I was like, hey, look at this. Look at Dusty. And then I sent it to Darla, and I was like, hey.
And she's like, "Who's that guy?"
She was super fired up for me, but then was like, "All right, did you make a fool of yourself?"
Oh, that's pretty cool. Well, that's a really, really fun story.
All right, well, yeah. So it's good to be back and everything, but like, I got to tell you, now every time I feel like this has happened. Every time I'm in an airport, I'm gonna have my head on a swivel.
You have to, and especially DFW.
Yeah, well,
especially
DFW. Well, and apparently even just coming back to DFW. So. It was. It was going out of DFW last time that I saw. Now his name's gonna slip my mind. Dennis Prager.
Oh yeah, PragerU guy. Yeah.
Saw Dennis PragerU guy, and then several years ago, when Andy Dalton was still starting quarterback for the Bengals. He was first class on a flight back from Cincinnati.
Oh, that's cool.
On the same plane we were on.
I'm trying to think if I've met anybody famous.
But I didn't meet...
to me, like, that was a true interaction, though.
It was.
That was. Like, I met will.i.am one time in Hawaii, and we took a picture with him, and that was it. There was zero conversation.
Right.
You know, whatever. I'm trying to think if I've met and had any kind of conversation with someone famous, but I can't. It must not have been that super impactful if I did. But yeah, I don't know how I would react. I really don't. Like, it probably just like you did.
Probably a little cooler. You seem to be pretty good under pressure.
No.
You probably would have worked in a podcast plug. Hey, could you join our podcast?
Yeah, I'd have handed him my bank card and been like, hey, if you need anything, I'll be happy to help you. If you need to open an account or anything, like, I can do it.
Next thing you know, you got a partnership. He's the head spokesperson for
Happy State Bank. Yeah. They're not a paid sponsor of this. All right, so we wanted to get into some topics today. What did you have on the docket for us?
Well, that was fun. I want to just kind of hit a quick one, and then maybe we'll see if we have time for another. But
okay.
So AI has been a huge topic in the last several years.
Yeah, we've even talked about it a little bit. Yep.
Yeah, we've kind of hit on it. And so artificial intelligence. Have you heard of this Friend AI pendant that is supposed to be going on sale for like $99?
No.
So it's a necklace, like a pendant, and it's always listening to all.
I'm out.
Next.
Yeah, swipe.
It's always listening, and it's the whole promotion of it's called Friend AI. The whole thing that it's promoting is it's just like another buddy who's always around. And the reason why it's always listening is like if you're kind of just talking to yourself, like I don't know if I should eat Shake Shack or In-N-Out Burger, it'll send you a text. Doo-doo-doo. Oh, come on, you like Shake Shack, and it's not trying to give actual business recommendations allegedly, but it's just trying to be a part of a conversation. Or if it hears you let's say I walk up and I'm talking to Darla and talking about, hey, let's go on a date this Friday night. And she's like, I'm busy or whatever. Like, I don't know if we're going to be able to make it work. Like, maybe we could do it Saturday. It might text me like a jeer, like, you loser. She totally rejected you on Friday or whatever. Right? Like it's supposed, and then you can like go back and forth and like chat with it on text or just talk to it. And it doesn't have like a speaker or anything. It's just kind of texting you messages. But yeah, it's this whole thing of like trying to create this sense of you're not alone. But it's just AI.
Well, we have 7 billion people on this planet.
You can't
help us with that.
Golly,
that's weird to me, dude.
It is weird. I feel like obviously it's going to be hijacked and just collect data.
Oh, correct. Yeah, it's just going to be data mining. Yeah, that's all it's going to do. Yeah, I'm not into that. I'm not into that at all.
But like, is there demand for that? Like,
oh, I'm sure. And somebody will put Scarlett Johansson's voice on it.
Yeah. That was a movie, right?
Yeah.
Her. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so I guess it's that. It's that whole thing.
I think, honestly, bro, the things they're doing with robots, like even, intimacy robots and stuff that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
that's a thing in Japan and stuff, right?
Yeah. And so, like, nothing shocks me anymore. Nothing.
Well, did you see on Instagram, I think they took these accounts down or they changed them, but there's AI, like, imagery is so good.
Oh, yeah.
And so there were these accounts that had like blue check marks, and it'll say like in the deal like it's an AI, whatever. But they were personas, and like one was like your big sister, one was your buddy who's like a golf pro.
Yeah,
another one.
I've seen that on like Instagram and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know, and I tried to go find it in prep for this a week or so ago, and I couldn't find those accounts anymore. I feel like the chats that I started with these AIs were still there, but their accounts, because here's the thing. Not only could you chat with them and talk about, like the big sister was there if you needed encouragement for something. And like everyone kind of had a very targeted focus. But when you clicked on their accounts, they actually had like these not real people, these AI generated images of people as if they were living a life. Like they were posting every so many days. They were like eating burgers with friends as if they were a real person. Or it'd be like, very seldom was it video. Okay. It was usually like just a still photo. And it wasn't always, sometimes it was like, depending on the person, like the golf person might be like, oh, hey, I just tried this, whatever, 45 degree. Like it was very specific to that persona, but it was stuff that like a person would post. Yeah. And they weren't talking to anybody. They're just creating like a backstory.
And that is just so much blurring of the lines.
I agree.
That is so weird to me. And what is the end goal? You know what I mean? I mean, because you're not getting true human interaction, true, whatever God designed us with to be able to connect human to human. Yeah. That's fake. That's faux, right? Yeah. Like that's not going to satisfy that need.
Yeah, but I wonder, is it the equivalent of the person who wants either the VR or the video tour of the Grand Canyon? They're like, it's not like being there, but it's a whole lot better than not having this, so I'll settle for this. But the problem is then they're less interested in the real thing. So in a way, it's like...
So it's still killing something because you're like, I could, but I'm not, or whatever.
Yeah, and then how that could be manipulated too, right? Into some...
Yeah, a dulling of the senses, which is already a major issue in the world today anyways.
Yeah, and from a social perspective. So anyway, Friend AI got me down that path. I just thought that was kind of crazy.
That is wild, dude. I don't... the AI stuff again, super weird, and I see the good in it too. Sure. Like I'm not blind. I see the good in it, but for the most part, I just think the road that it leads to is something I'm not interested in.
Yeah,
but that's where we're going.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, whether you like it or not.
We're going.
Neuro whatever, it's happening.
What was that movie? Mission Impossible, the latest one. How that AI was like the weapon, and it was able to. They were calling it the entity. Yes. You know, which is like, in my opinion, is something you would call like God,
a divine being.
Yeah,
or
like
something.
A divine being. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think that I remember talking to somebody about this after that. I saw that in theater, maybe, but it at some point there's a line where maybe it's like the main protagonist tells the an agent of who's like a human who is following the AI.
Yeah, and
he basically says like, you're doing whatever your God commands you to do just because you think he can see the future or something like that. And like the point there though is that in this make-believe world of a movie, they're referring to a human who is seeing AI as like a god, like a source of truth to be relied upon. Yeah. And I'm like, oh yeah. Yeah, and that's definitely happening and will continue to happen.
And is that the image of the beast? Like is AI? I mean, because if you think about it,
how many O1s do you have to get to a 6?
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly.
Anyway,
but it's like the computer can quantify unlimited number of solutions to a problem or whatever, and then they can get in and shut down. You can't buy or sell without. You know what I'm saying? Like, it all just seems to me that I'm like, And again, people will be on board with it, and why not be on board with something like that? It's super cool.
Super cool. Like in term, like there's the possibilities of how it could be used for good kind of thing. But I don't.
So what's your thoughts on like all this, like this Israel stuff going on too? Because this is some pretty crazy stuff, man.
I don't know. I mean, anytime there's like a big noteworthy or newsworthy activity going on in the Middle East, because that's the main theater for end time, right? It's not. We always act like it's us. We're
a side character.
Yeah, and maybe or not a character at all by the time things happen. True. Who knows? Mm-hmm. But that's so that's where my mind goes. My mind immediately goes, are there implications to this?
Yeah. And I think all this started back on October 7. I really do.
October 7, last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
and then you look
raid of Israel.
Israel by Hamas. And, but like you think about all this stuff that's going on, and then all this evil that's being exposed with like Diddy and stuff like that.
Yes.
Which is just insanity.
Yeah.
But just it's like you see the darkness that's underneath being brought to light, and then you see all the things going on in the Middle East, and then these catastrophic storms that are,
even so come quickly Lord Jesus. That's where my mind goes. I'm like, this world not my home.
Crazy. So I've been following this guy Tim Kennedy.
Okay.
So he's like an ex Green Beret Navy SEAL something. He was an MMA fighter, really good MMA fighter. Anyways, so he's retired and he's helping out these what is the name? Save Our Own, I think. Save Our Allies. That's what it is. Save Our Allies. SOA. And they're headquartered. He's from Texas. They're headquartered out of North Carolina.
I like this guy more you tell me about him.
He's really cool.
Okay, cool. Carry on.
So he's out of Texas, but their company is out of North Carolina. Okay. And so Helene, the hurricane, just came through and
flooded, destroyed.
Just did awful damage. Well, he gets up there and starts trying to like help people, and like it was crazy the things that he's up there showing you and telling you that the government is like not reporting on, not talking about.
I am seeing a lot of that.
They're like,
turning a
really
blind eye.
Dead people, and he's like, dude, we're pulling out dead bodies like crazy. And he said that FEMA, they were up there trying to get in different places, and FEMA's like, you can't go up there, the road's closed, and they're like, no, we're going. Like we're going up
people
there.
Need help. What
yes.
are you gonna
yeah, exactly. And so he's like, his statement was, give me one redneck to every 100 government
dudes with clipboards or whatever.
He's like, give me a redneck and I will absolutely take on. So he goes up there, he's pulling people out, and then he's in his helicopter and he shows all these helicopters on the ground and stuff. He's like, these are all private U.S. pilots, private citizens that have decided they're going to fly their helicopter up here and trying to help get people out. And he's like, these people are bad dudes because they were pulling people off of roofs of houses. And it'd be like where you can only put one, like
leg,
whatever that is on the helicopter or whatever it is.
Sure. Rail.
Yes. And put it on there and then people would climb in. And so it was just all these really cool stories of Americans like coming out and helping. But I'm saying all that to say, like, yeah, it's, you know, all that kind of stuff is happening, and it always feels like maybe I just heard this and I don't know if it's true, but it's like always like the weather in the Middle East, or like our weather in the Middle East always have something to do, and I always like pictures like, is there something going on, excuse me, that we're missing, you know? But anyways.
Well, what is crazy is it does feel like I've heard accusations of suppression of news coming out of the Middle East.
Yeah. I'm sure that happens all the time.
You know what I mean? But I will say, like, it does feel like one of the things we should be aware of on the world stage, and that's not generally what you see that seems newsworthy, right?
Yeah.
I'm still seeing, like, fluff stuff being suggested or whatever. I don't know. It just, I just have a rising level of distrust for what is important being reported accurately.
I think if you're getting news from Fox or CNN, you're highly disinformed. Yeah. You're uninformed, whatever they are not true media sources.
What I do think though, a lot of this, whether it's some of this nonsense with the weather, whether it's government interference cover, whatever's going on, whether we're talking about like the stuff going on in the Middle East, like, we're seeing revival. We're seeing people like families start to turn their attention. Like, things aren't right, and people's spirits are troubled. And I just hope that more people would follow that call it instinct, their soul crying out. Follow it to the church doorstep, because you're not gonna, you keep searching here, you're not gonna find it. You know, it's not like that. So
I agree, and I think as times get worse, and you hate for that to be the thing, right? Because we don't want to live for God out of fear, but you know, hey, if God's grace is good enough to push people to the door.
What's that verse? Some saved with fear, hating even the garment spotted by the flesh, pulling them from the flames, hating even the garment spotted by the flesh. I think it's Jude. But so like it feels like if that it can get your attention, and then maybe you can, with revelation, you can fall in love with God.
And I think, man, I honestly believe we're going to see crazy end time revival. I just, you know, I can't not.
Well, I'm going to live like it's like that's what the mission, right? Like I can't, what's the alternative?
And you think about too, all the people who've already died that will be in heaven too. Yeah. Like heaven's going to be pretty full. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be pretty packed in there.
Oh yeah. Yes.
I've heard some teachings and stuff on heaven and how it's like cubed, and
like the sizing.
Yeah. I think I read or did the math one time. It was like from the very tip of Texas at the bottom all the way up to New York. That was the land space. And times,
and then cube
that, right? 12. Or whatever, 12 layers.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So anyways, I'm like, oh, maybe not. We don't have plenty of room.
Yeah. It's going to be crowded. There's going to be a lot of space in the air, I'll tell you that.
If you don't like floor 1, you hop on that heavenly elevator and go up to 2 or 3 and see what's going on.
And there's no 13 because we don't get to 13. What's going on there?
Unlucky 13.
Yeah, no, I always think, have you ever heard there's an author, Ted Dekker?
I've heard of him, yeah.
He wrote
Dekr or something.
Yeah, Dekker.
Yeah.
He wrote a lot of fiction, but he also wrote this one nonfiction book early, or at least I think it's early in his career, called The Slumber of Christianity. And the beauty of this book is that he talks about how that much of Christianity appears to have lost their sense of wonder and excitement for heaven. And one of his points there is he says, when you read about descriptors for what heaven's going to be, often he goes, if you're not careful, you might make a lot of it very literal. And again, this is not like some doctrinal expository thought, but like but he's saying, he said, it just feels like that may be true, but also the hearers at the time, anybody who's reading this, the goal is to inspire this sense of like streets made of gold. Like, and the point is whatever that could be framed up in language would pale in comparison to how amazing it actually is. Yeah. So Gates of Pearl, it's like, we're just trying to paint a picture here so that your mortal brain can comprehend or get excited about it. Yeah. He's like, it's just the tip of the iceberg of how amazing it is.
And to me, we're going to go back to dulling senses, but we can create anything now. Yeah. Like, and so for kids to get excited about stuff like that, for people to get excited.
If you were to build this in Minecraft and you'd be like, oh, that's it? Yeah. Like, it could be impressive, but you'd be like, oh, well, I just built that in Minecraft. It's
I mean, I guarantee you there are kids in today's world who walk into Disney World and don't experience the magic of that feeling like we did. I'm not saying Disney World's heaven. I'm just talking a comparison. Yeah. Right? But they're like, oh, okay. Yeah. Cool. Because they can have crazy, awesome, and again, it's just like dulling their senses.
Sure. Yeah. That, I think we talked about it before, anhedonia, right? Like, it requires a bigger dopamine hit. Something they need something more new, something they haven't seen before, and they've seen so much. And they've.
So what is interesting to me, though, since we're just on this end times train out of nowhere,
not on the list.
Yeah, not on the list at all. But is the 1,000-year reign, like the millennial reign? Yeah. That is interesting to me. Yeah, of what that actually looks like and is going to be like. Yeah. Because
some folks believe we're in that, right? That's one in time. I don't ascribe to that.
Yeah, I don't either. But yes, some people do.
I'm like, if that dude's bound right now.
For real.
Golly.
Yeah. Well, and that's what's weird.
He's still doing, he's like a mob boss in prison. He's still doing a lot of damage.
Yeah, exactly. Which is interesting to me that, like, we rule and reign with Christ here on earth. Jesus is, I mean, everybody knows, right? Yeah. And
there's still opposition.
Yeah. That somebody's going to start a rebellion. You're going to be like, how are you doing this?
Yeah,
what are you doing?
Right, you realize
you've been here for 1,000 years.
You would think you would read how this is going to end for you.
Yeah, I don't understand it. So that's something that's always baffled me about the end times.
It does me too, but I get pretty fired up about just like I don't know what adventures are ahead, but I think that it's pretty exciting to think that there's adventure to come. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just kumbaya. Like, worship is amazing. I don't mean to diminish that at all. I think that would offend some people, but like just to know that, like, who knows what like the kid in me, like, who knows what is still to be seen, experienced, unfold, how we might be ministers, how we might be used. I don't know.
What was the saying? It was the best of times. Yeah. It was the worst of times. What is that from?
I don't even know.
I don't know what that's from either, but it was said by someone somewhere before.
Yes, that's right. You didn't come up with it on your own.
Anyways, that's where we're at right now. All right. We did some stuff switching around. We have a light behind me now. Just going to go ahead and call that out in case you notice it. Okay, for our last segment, we told you guys last time we were going to do a segment on cults. And obviously we are just so well versed in cults. So yeah, we're gonna talk about that. All right, so I am fascinated with cults. Okay. Like, fascinated with them. I've watched so many like documentaries, so many there's so much going on behind the scenes right now. So many documentaries, listen to so many podcasts. There's actually a really good podcast called Cultish. It's pretty interesting. I don't agree with everything. They actually call out the UPCI on some stuff that I'm like, yeah, some of it I'm like, okay, I see what you're saying, but it's, to me, when they call out the UPCI, they're actually calling out like an individual church that acts kind of weird. You know what I'm saying?
That makes sense.
But they're not, like, the organization as a whole is certainly not cultish. So anyways, have you heard of any cult leaders? I guess we could talk about one right here in Texas. the wacko and Waco.
Oh yeah, they do not want you bringing this up. They're trying to move on. They're a city of Baylor football and the silos.
So
now.
I heard this comedian. It was a pretty funny joke, and he was in an Uber in Waco.
Yeah,
and they were driving down. He was going to a show, I guess, at a comedy club down there, and they pulled off or whatever to the side, and he was like, the Uber driver was like, "That burger place right there. That's what Waco's known for." And the guy in the back goes, "I don't think you know what Waco's known for." He's like, "Have you ever heard of Netflix?" You know, and he just talking about that. But like, you were alive during that time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're pretty old.
I have no idea.
You're significantly older than me.
God, no. I have no idea. I don't. Yeah, that was a thing. I think I remember that being a thing.
It was like
in the news,
multi-day
ATF rating.
Yeah, the ATF. Because they went way crazy.
I was going to say, because there's like two wrongs here, right? There's
for sure.
There's the craziness of the cult, and then there's the like,
which they were hoarding weapons too,
right? And I think that I'm not. Somebody's going to like. If the right person heard this, they'd destroy us. But listen, that right person ain't listening.
Yeah, listen, we're going to need to be like the Democratic debate. Don't fact check us.
Yeah. Okay, so, yeah, I mean, I just remember there's that. I think there was also like allegations of mistreatment or people being held against their will.
I think so.
Children potentially being involved. There was a lot of reasonable. There's reason for some of the authorities stepping in and getting involved. But I do think there was like
a terrible way.
An escalation and in a way that really unnecessarily put some people's lives at risk.
And the ATF is unregulated too.
Yeah.
I think they're right. They don't have anybody over them. Are they still a
Well, it's part of the executive branch, and so it's just kind of like
but are they still a organization?
Yep.
Okay.
Alcohol, tobacco, firearms. Yeah.
So they went in and got all those people.
Unfortunately, they're still a thing.
They did that one deal where they were blasting the music all night long, keeping those people from sleeping.
That's crazy.
Trying to get them out of there.
Kind of wild.
It's wild, dude. Wild.
Yeah.
But David Koresh.
Yeah, that's right.
And they ended up all dying or killing themselves in that thing.
Yeah, cult leader with a cult personality. Hey, so real quick, definitions.
Okay.
So this is just something that, as a callback, an AI generated definition after I searched it in Google. It's a system of religious veneration and devotion. I have to look those up now.
I don't know what that means.
Directed toward a particular figure or object. It could be a relatively small group of people having religious beliefs or practices regarded by others as strange or sinister. And then it could be a misplaced or excessive admiration for a particular person or thing. I think the thing is like, I don't know, like there's some parts like of the term cult that seem benign.
Sure.
But it's whenever there's like, there's a negative connotation when it's like, oh, but there's some evil, there's some fault, like truth is being suppressed and or.
Yeah, I think people assign cults to any group that has a powerful authoritarian like at the top, you know.
Yeah.
But like
said.
I wouldn't think I would classify them as this, but I wouldn't think of them in this light. But like the Amish people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, of course, everybody. Let's take all the bad apples out of any one-off group, but I'm sure that they have their own problems. But for the most part, the Amish are pretty to themselves, and at least in what I know. But I would think they were a cult. You look at them, you're like, all right, you guys a little different, whatever. But but not in a bad sense, not in like a Jim Jones.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Like hundreds of people committing suicide. At the leadership,
and that was crazy too, man. That dude was off his rocker. I think he was on cocaine.
Yeah, there's got to be some kind of explanation.
But he was
the People's Temple.
The People's Temple. Yeah. And it's sad because I think he was like a Pentecostal preacher. Pentecostal preacher, whatever that means. But like if you listen to and watch stuff on him, that dude was pretty charismatic. And
I think that is kind of a requirement. Otherwise, the cult doesn't go anywhere.
Right. Yeah, like you have to be.
Yeah. If there's no charisma, then nobody follows.
Yeah.
And then you're just a homeless person ranting on.
So okay, I'm trying to think all all the cult, like David Koresh.
Okay,
Jim
so I got a
Jones.
couple. Have you heard of Heaven's Gate?
Heaven's Gate, yes, yes. They
Is this
did,
on the? You're learning this from the cultish thing? Because I've not
No.
heard of most of these.
No. I've just watched a ton of documentaries. So so Heaven's Gate, they all did the suicide because they thought the aliens
comet.
or
Hale-Bopp comet
yes.
was a signal for them to leave Earth.
Yeah, that was their first to leave Earth and go off. Yeah.
I've seen.
But they all killed themselves. They unalived themselves. Sorry, YouTube. Please.
That is terrible. I didn't realize that was okay.
Yeah.
I've seen shows do allude to this kind of a thing, I didn't know that was actually a thing.
Yeah.
The Manson family.
Oh, of course. Yep. Manson's,
Famous.
Yep. Charles Manson. Yeah, he just died too.
Yeah,
right?
I did see that.
Yeah, that was he was a wild person.
Yeah, well, right. And so I think those are some of the marks of the
Helter
cults.
Skelter. That's what he was.
Is that what it was?
That's what he was in. Yeah, Helter Skelter.
I think they were I think that's a good example of you've got some kind of charisma with the leader, and then you've got the leader convincing individuals to do things that you would not expect a normal, rational person to do.
But that's what's crazy to me, though, is because I think some of these people are normal, rational people.
But I'm saying they are. But I'm saying you wouldn't expect them to do it.
Sure.
But then they do because they got sucked into a cult.
Yeah, because somehow their eternity is tied into all of that.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. They begin to identify with it or something, and now they're bought in.
And, I was saying maybe they're just in so deep in that community that they feel like that's all they have left.
There's one called NXIVM.
Yep. That was the one where that girl from Smallville, I think, was in on that, right?
Oh no, an actress?
Allison Mack. Yeah, have you ever seen Smallville?
No.
Okay,
I'm familiar with it.
Okay, well, she was one of the main characters, on there. Her name, I think.
It's the Superman show, right? Smallville? Yeah, okay.
And she was hiring or doing that Ghislaine Maxwell with Epstein.
Because it says
ladies to come in and do some stuff.
Trafficking. And
yes, trafficking.
Okay.
Yep. That was a real popular one.
Unification Church. It's a church known for mass weddings called blessing ceremonies. I don't know.
I don't know that one.
Let me just say something real quick. Quick public service announcement. Yeah. Don't go Google all this.
Yeah,
I mean, there might be some nonsense in here, especially for younger audiences.
Yeah, for sure.
Wild one. I just read one called "The Movement for the Restoration of the Ten Commandments."
Yeah.
Wonder what they're about.
Yeah. Well, probably. And I'm just guessing here. The restoration of the Ten Commandments. What does it tell you? What they're
no,
what they're or where they're at?
Someone was just listing different types of cults, and so Branch Davidians was in here.
Okay,
we've got
tell me another one. Let me see if I know about
Church Universal and Triumphant. I feel like that's in the old hymn book.
Yeah, I've heard of the Universalist
talking about the church in the Book of Revelation.
I've never heard that.
It's built on the rock. It's got a firm foundation.
Universalists, they are.
Comment if you know that song. I wasn't making it up.
Yeah.
Don't comment that I did a terrible job singing it.
Universalists, I think, believe everybody's going to heaven no matter what you do.
That is a thing for sure, but I don't
know if that's the same though.
Okay, and then there's the Church of Satan. Shocker that's on this list.
Yeah. Mr. Aleister Crowley. It's pretty weird though. You see that dude who started that back in the 60s, and his daughter looks just like Taylor Swift. It's kind of wild.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that name.
Aleister Crowley?
Yeah.
Yeah, he started the Church of Satan.
Oh.
He was back in early Hollywood, whatever, and
he has a great name for a friend of James Bond.
Yeah.
Agent Aleister Crowley.
Yeah, he was a showman kind of thing, real theatrical and all that. There's a guy who does, who is big into that. He's a comedian now. Shane something. Oh man, he's really funny. He's got all these face tattoos. Anyways, he does one of my favorites.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because I think I saw him on Dry Bar Comedy.
He was.
And I thought he was clean. So I was like, I'm going to go look up all his stuff. This guy's funny.
Yeah. And you know what? He's a Christian now. He may be clean now.
Okay.
That may have just been a one-off.
Maybe older stuff or whatever. Okay.
But he is. Anyways, but he was talking about being a part of that. And I'm also listening to that guy named John Ramirez, who used to be the high-ranking warlock in the Church of Satan, and like talks about all this crazy stuff.
Let me just say something though. Warlock's a really cool title. I'm not saying it's a good
warlock
thing, but it just sounds like something tough and
that's what all the little Church of Satans are all trying to aspire to be that. So yeah, anyways, he tells some really wild stories. And I'm like, as a Christian, you can't not listen to somebody who's been on that side of the aisle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're like, they know stuff. And that dude would talk about, and like, they would have church, the Church of Satan would have church all night, right? All night. And they would be praying, casting spells, doing all this. And then we complain about going to church for 2 hours.
Yeah. Get me out of here for the football game.
Work.
Yeah.
So it was a little convicting to like hear some of his stories.
Sure.
But he just did a good little interview with Michael Knowles.
I think about that anytime I think about what people are willing to endure for concerts and like sporting events.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, people. Yeah. And then maybe sometimes I'm one of them. Yeah. You know, sometimes I'm like, oh, God.
You know, the older I get, the less I care about crowds. And which is why I'll never join a cult. Because I don't want the crowds.
You're like, stop right there.
Yeah.
The cult's already growing. I'm out.
Yeah, I'm out. Unless I'm grassroots in this, I'm not starting this.
He's like, we didn't even get to the stuff that we have to talk around.
Yeah. It's crazy, too. You see these cult people, they start out, and it always starts as one thing, and then they get a little power and a little influence, and then you just see that fuel their fire, and they just go way off into left field. And I'm not saying all cults start innocently. I'm sure there are nefarious intentions from the beginning, but it is crazy to see, like, you hear these stories of these survivors and stuff, and they're like, well, I knew him, and, you know, he was just so nice, and then one day, you know, flipped his lid.
What is it? Okay. Are the Freemasons a cult, or is that just a secret society?
I don't know if there's a difference, but it's like, because you could have the...
Because you see them temples and stuff, they're huge.
Yeah, and then what's the other one? The Skull and Bones?
And they're everywhere. Yeah, that's another thing.
That's the one.
I think that's the one. That's the president one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they all go out to Bohemian Grove and have a good time.
I don't know anything about that, but that sounds...
You don't know Bohemian Grove?
Sorry.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is a wild thing, okay? So it's like these high-ranking whatever, and there's a lot of speculation about what goes on here. But I've never been
right now on the visual, there's like all these asterisks just...
Yeah. Don't listen. Again, there's people who have snuck into this place, and I'm sure...
Oh, it's a real location. Is it a grove, like a garden type situation?
Yeah, I think so. But they do some weird stuff, according to people who have been there, and like it's real hush-hush.
Can you
it's
just
like
hide a trail camera?
Yeah, right.
And just be...
I'll tell you who snuck in there, Alex Jones.
Okay.
And,
boy.
And of course he comes out, you know, just, I'll tell you what they're doing in there. Yeah, I'll tell you what, they're little frogs and everything out there.
I feel like I've been to churches where he was preaching, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Sorry.
But this Bohemian Grove, apparently it's like where all these high-ranking world leaders go. And I'm sure they have meetings and stuff, but apparently they get out there too in like the middle of the night and burn this big like this big like owl-looking creature or something.
Is this like Burning Man, but with a twist?
Yeah, probably the same idea. But they get out there and they do these weird like theatrical performances. But it's all like high-ranking officials. Okay. And there's some pretty like Diddy freak off stuff that's been said to have happened there. I don't know if that's real or not. But anyway, so it's like real strange. I'm
the most boring. I show up with my Xbox controller.
You're like, guys, I heard we're having a good time.
Ready to play some games.
Yeah. You got Monopoly in one hand.
Y'all ever played Wits and Wagers?
Yeah. Shoots and ladders. So, I don't know that, but that's...
That's wild. Okay. That's a new
it's
one for
interesting.
me.
You'll have to look it up.
Well, so my mention of the Freemason thing is because I feel like there's... apparently a lot of folks are super involved in that, and I don't understand. I've got some like anecdotal stories from folks like my a relative one time the husband was getting kind of worked up and was smashed, not in church or any of that kind of stuff, and the police were called, and they came out there, saw that he was kind of had a ring on, some high level in the society
type of stuff.
Kissed the ring, gave him, kind of let him go, no report, no nothing, just pulled the bullets out of the gun, said
get out of here.
Just said, hey, I'll leave, but please please don't let her call the police again or something like that.
Bro, you get. I mean, those people in the power, they get.
But I just don't get
special treatment.
I don't get it, and there's a lot of secrecy there, and I mean, I guess that's what keeps the whole thing going. But I don't like it. Yeah. And there's a reason why. That's a reason why our organization has a strong stance against secret societies and things like that. Yeah. I think David Bernard's put some content out there.
Why be in that stuff? No. Nothing good ever comes from any of that.
Yeah. Your devotion should be to the work of the Lord if you're going to be doing stuff like that.
And don't do that. I mean, I'm not saying blast it, but you don't have to like wear a cape and a hood and chant anything which is what I'm assuming Freemasons do.
Like a lot of the buildings, they have like no windows and all this like iconography and stuff on the outside. There's a building in Waco, interesting place for it to be.
You think that's on accident? Go on.
But it's like we were at this really kind of cool hotel in downtown, just kind of walking around the space, and we walk out on a little rooftop restaurant. It wasn't open yet, but we just want to see the view.
Yeah.
And look over, and there's this building that looks like, like a Soviet or a swastika banner would be unfurled in front of it, and there'd be like a dictator on the steps. Like it looked like one of those type of buildings.
Yeah.
And it was the whatever temple, and they call them temples.
Yeah.
That's another strike.
Yeah.
Temple of the Freemasonry or whatever.
Bro, I can't get into it.
I thought they were lodges.
Yeah, lodges.
Oh, this one says temple.
Yeah, temple. I've seen temple too, though. I have. Yeah.
I think
they have lodges like in small.
They do have lodges. You're right, though.
But I think there's one by the church headquarters.
Yeah.
Oh, we got one. See, and that's what I'm saying. They're
Let's
everywhere.
Go knock on the door and see what's up.
Even try to join.
Yeah, you're like, hey, what do you got to do? You gotta
Next thing you know, chocolate? We're like, we can't talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. We just get real isolated and judgy.
Yeah. So that I don't. Anyway, those always get me. And then I think there's what's the Shriners?
Shrew Farms.
Sounds like more fun. No, the Shriners are known for like the.
Are they a cult? I mean, a secret society.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and they're known for like raising money for
burn victims,
medical stuff. Is that what it is? Burn victims.
I think so.
They have a circus. That's another thing.
That is we've been to the circus.
Yeah, but it is
a cult.
Do you have a hat?
Yeah, dude, those hats are ridiculous. You have to know something about that. Like, what's the deal with the Shriners hats? I'm looking that up. I want to know why those hats.
Why are they wearing those hats? Stylish. Yeah, you're gonna get an invite.
Dude, yeah, like all my hats? Instagram ads are gonna go Shriners.
You're like all of a sudden, one Shriner got really good at SEO and.
Okay, here's the AI overview, which apparently pops up now on Google. Shriners wear the Fez hat, F-E-Z, as a symbol of their membership in the fraternity cult.
Fraternity.
And to represent their commitment to philanthropy, which is just a word that means nothing.
Yeah.
And community service.
I do good things and give things away.
The Fez, the hat, is inspired by the ancient Arabic order of nobles of the mystic shrine, Lord of the Rings, and was chosen to complement the fraternity's Arabic theme. Interesting.
I didn't realize that there was an Arabic theme.
I had no idea.
Yeah, there's something there.
The Fez features an emblem of a crescent and scimitar.
Oh, that's like a sickle, but it's like a sword, bent sword. Okay. I think I might be wrong about that.
I was like, isn't that a half man, half horse?
Centaur.
Oh, centaur. I was like, they got a crescent.
That guy's wielding a half man, half horse.
What? These Shriners are off the rails. So that
centaur
represents the fraternity's characteristics. Okay.
Sounds like
This is okay. I had no idea it was rooted in any kind of Arabic anything. So where did they start? How
Arabia?
Shriners start.
Hey, it does look like the little hat that Boo wears in Aladdin.
Ah, yeah, Abu. I think you said Boo.
Is this real?
I like it.
Okay. Shriners International.
Oh, I think it's Apu, isn't it? A-P-U? Or is it Abu?
Oh.
It's a Boo.
Okay, I don't know.
Oh, we're talking about Aladdin?
Yeah.
Yeah, because little monkey wears a Shriner's hat.
He does.
Mm-hmm. Is it the same symbol?
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's talk about Disney being in on some weird stuff, though.
Oh, for sure.
Bro, Disney's in on some wacky stuff.
Wasn't like Walt Disney a I'm not gonna Freemasonry or something.
Probably. He wasn't in National Treasure though. Okay, Shriners International, men's fraternity, men only.
Oh, that's right. It is
only
in this
dudes.
day and age.
And there's nobody in there under 67.
Yeah, right.
It began in 1872 when a group of master masons wanted to create a social club with a fun and mysterious theme. This was a costume party.
Come on, dude. Yeah.
And it got serious.
Yeah, they were like, guys, let's keep doing this.
Yeah. In 1870.
How do we make sure we don't let Bob in?
Yeah.
We got to make it a club now.
Let's see.
Bob messed it up that one year.
Yeah, okay. A lot of this is really boring.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was expecting in looking this up, but I was hoping for something.
You thought someone was about to leap out of the phone.
Yeah. If you're hanging on to something there, it's not worth
apologies.
It. Yeah.
If you're picking up right now and wondering what you missed, it's because we edited out 30 minutes of
of just Shriner's knowledge. Yeah, Disney does some crazy stuff. Okay, the stuff with you talking about Washington and like all that. Like, isn't there like something to do with like crazy stuff in the roads, like the maps? Like if it's supposed to like make a pentagram if you go from the White House to the monument.
I haven't seen that kind of stuff.
You have never seen that? Mm-mm. Yeah, I think you can probably look that up. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, that's fair. No, okay, right. And that feels like I think that's a Freemasonry calling card, right? Is that they're master planners? They're not just like building. It's like planning out cities and governments. I think it's like all
in
about
time stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been into like disaster movies lately too. I gotta get. Have you ever seen the movie Greenland with Gerard Butler?
I feel like
I gotta watch that again.
I feel like I've seen it.
Yeah,
maybe not the movie, but I feel like I'm aware of it being a thing.
Just talking about like.
Don't you not know what the disaster is?
Oh, I don't remember, dude. I really don't.
There's one of those that's like that. Like you don't know what's causing what.
Oh, okay.
Like it's that. Like it's maybe that's a different thing.
Yeah, there was one of those that.
But those are like a cheap like Twister and Twisters is great.
Yeah.
But there's some stuff that's like
you have to sit down.
Or there's stuff I don't care really about. I just want to see the destruction.
Yeah.
Like when I'm watching, there's
You're
something...
a nihilist. We get it.
Oh man, I don't even know I tried to watch the latest Planet of the Apes something.
Okay, I liked it.
But if nothing else, I just like how it's like, oh, that's what a city would look like in however many generations, hundreds of years.
Yeah.
So
or after this next election.
Register now.
Yeah, or whoever.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Me and Mike were talking about, maybe we can get your feedback here. We were talking about doing like actually he didn't talk about it, I talked about it, but doing a live election election night coverage and not have any kind of.
It might be, if nothing else, good for us.
Yeah.
to not be like actually trying to be like. Ugh.
Yeah, just.
You can invite people, make it like a live event. You can have like questions for them.
Yeah, dude.
Have some folks pop in.
And we know nothing about politics. Excuse me, I know
very little about anything.
But that would be kind of fun.
Politics.
And we could do some like games and stuff. Like, make it fun. I mean, because
let's do it.
Let's be honest, we're screwed either way.
We got to figure out a way.
That's right. We might as well.
We're gonna offend everybody who has a dog in the hunt. We're like,
have you seen SNL's Joe Biden? Dana Carvey does Joe Biden on his It puts me in stitches. It's so funny. He's like, he does he comes out. He's like, hey. Come on, wait, who's that? Guess what? Like he just says this. I'll show it to you after the podcast.
I thought you were just doing Joe Biden, but
it is
perfect.
But it's very funny, man. It had me cracking up. Anyway,
excellent. All right, no, I'd like to do something like that. The other thing we talked about maybe doing at some point is some kind of like try some candy.
Yes,
just some like not like weird things, but things that everybody doesn't do all the time, just to see how that works out.
Yeah, I love it.
So maybe some stuff coming up.
Yep, cool. Well, guys, we appreciate you being here with us today, and we're still trying to get everything figured out. It'll probably change next time, but thanks for tuning in with us. All things are potable, guys.